And yo, the Sports Bag Bros podcast is back on, starting the week on Monday. A brand new week of sports because it's in the background, but there's still things going on now. More to come because we'll be back on Thursday as well to talk about what's happening tonight and anything in between time. In the meantime, with sports as well, what's going on?
What's happening? NBA's heating up. We had some series that were 2-0 that are now 2-1, 2-1 that are now 2-2. It's going to be interesting. Can the Warriors still win? Maybe Steph comes back for game 6. They might be done before that. They blew one the other night. And tonight's a big one for your boys at home in the Garden. They need this one. They don't want to go back to Boston 2-2.
Exactly. I don't think they want to go back to Boston 2-2. Let's not get it twisted. Things did happen in Boston. The Knicks did go up 2-0, and coming back to the Garden, Boston's a better team on the road anyway. Boston's the better team from top to bottom, period. Yeah, and we know that. There's the reason why the Knicks were down by 20 or 20 plus and had to fight to get back and try to win the game, and they did win those 2 games. But then the Celtics come to the Garden in the playoff atmosphere with all of those former Knicks legends, including John Starks, not necessarily a legend, but for a little while he was there, and they get drubbed. The crowd's trying to get into it, and it did not even matter. No one was able to miss a three-pointer. It took Jason Tatum until the third quarter or so to miss a 3.
Yeah, he was 5 for 9.
It was from the beginning of that game. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, you kind of broke up on me. I don't know if that was you or me, but I saw the score. I didn't watch any of the game, but I saw the score. I was like, Celtics are up 20 again, but that don't mean anything because they were up 20 in the other games. But the Knicks weren't able to mount a comeback, and Boston didn't collapse. So was it a combination of the two in Boston, or was it just the Knicks weren't able to come back? I don't know. But I think the Knicks' best chance of winning in the Garden is tonight.
Yes,
because if you think about it, Boston was playing for their playoff life in game 3. They go down 3-0, it's a wrap. And now we're in agreement. If Boston ties it 2-2, it's probably a wrap. So New York probably knows that too. So I think they're going to come out with more energy, more aggressiveness. It's just a matter of whether they're making shots and whether their defense can hold Boston down. They cannot fall behind 15-20 again.
Well, that phenomenal shooting Boston had in the game, it's hard to stop that. Everybody was shooting, and it was just going in from the 3-point range, and the Knicks didn't have anything going for them offensively. Even the charity stripe wasn't good to them, especially with Mitchell Robinson. He's like freaking Wilt Chamberlain, man. He might as well throw it between his legs. He might what?
Yeah, he's 30%, I believe.
30%. Man, I can't even remember.
Shaq was ever that bad.
I've never remember anyone being that bad. I don't know if I even kept up with it, but when they said 30%, I'm like, wait a minute, 30%? I mean, that's not even a coin flip chance. That's like, you know what? You might as well get struck by lightning before he hits a freaking 3-pointer. I mean, come on, a free throw. And it's just been bad for him. Josh Hart trying to get it together. But every time the Knicks had won one of those games, it was one of the players you didn't really rely on who added something to it and gave the Knicks that upper hand. Boston, again, has the better team overall. Porzingis was in the game. Didn't do a whole lot that you would think Porzingis would do, but I think his presence did do something, and he did get a few things done. But the way they were shooting, there's just the Knicks didn't have any answer for it. So, like you said, tonight is the best opportunity the Knicks are going to have to win this game. Look at the odds. It started at 6.5. Now it's down to 5.5. So some Knicks money came in. But that's not always a good thing because you have a bunch of squares now throwing big money out there because it's a New York game. And now it goes down to 5.5. It's not because dudes and people who know what the hell they're doing are bringing it down to 5.5.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is Boston's actually the favorite to win the series based off their win in Game 3. Yeah. So it's like the experts think, okay, Boston figured it out. So that's why I'm saying New York has to know they got to come out guns blazing today. They have to. They can't fall behind early. And I'm looking for Jalen Brunson to have a monster game. I know he's got one of the best defenders, harassing him all over the court.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's harassing, man, Drew.
He's got to show Drew Holiday, look, my offense is better than your defense. It's time he puts his foot down and doesn't allow Drew to get him out of his game. We haven't seen Jalen Brunson be Jalen Brunson since the last series.
Yeah, but we also know he's that second tier, just below the all-stars or superstar players we were talking about just a couple of days ago. He's that second tier player, great when he needs to be great, but not great all the time. I don't think you can rely on him to be great all the time. And look at this. So far, not great at all. He needs to do something tonight to put the team on his shoulders and be able to do something with that, because the Celtics, I think they play a little bit more relaxed tonight. And is that a good thing or bad thing? I don't think they even played tight the last game, because they was hitting these threes like it was nothing. I mean, it was about the threes. That's what it was about. It was all about the threes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now, as far as
I didn't see the game. I saw score updates here and there.
Well, unfortunately, I watched the game. And unfortunately, I turned away from the game. I already knew what was going to happen. You saw the writing on the wall. I knew this wasn't one of those games where they're down by 20 again. We've seen it before. Now, the way the game was going, especially in the second half, I was like, damn, because I thought that they can't stay this hot throughout the game. And they didn't, but the Knicks didn't get a whole lot better in the second half either. Now, going to the other games in the playoffs, Indiana now has Cleveland on the brink of being eliminated, even though Cleveland got some of their players back. But now, addition by subtraction, no, not necessarily, not even at all. Now we have Mitchell out. Mitchell has a bad ankle, missed the second half of yesterday's game. They can't do anything without him, and the numbers showed it. 44 freaking points was the largest lead, 41 points at halftime. Game over, bro.
Indiana. Yeah, definitely. Game, set, match. That series is over. I thought it was over after game 2. To the Cavaliers' credit, they came out and won game 3, but they had some injury issues already, and without Donovan Mitchell, they had no chance. They have no chance.
No chance.
So it looks like the Pacers, it's just a matter of time when they punch their ticket to the ECF.
You know what? And the Pacers going in, they were looked at as a solid team. You didn't necessarily believe they had a chance to win or move forward and do something really, really hard. Well, yeah, they did something hard. They were able to beat up on Cleveland and doing it right now. This is the point in the playoffs, or this is the point of the season where, regardless if you're injured or not, you still have to deliver. Regardless, it's a long season. It's a grinding season. What you end up with is what you end up with. Everybody's going through the same grind. It's just a matter of who can handle the attrition. Right now, Indiana has. And it looks like this could be the sneaky team that pushes themselves into the Eastern Conference Finals, has a real chance if they continue to play the way they are, looking at the way Halliburton has been playing and stepping up when he needs to step up. They could be that representative on the East, because Cleveland, I thought it was only Cleveland and Boston. That's pretty much where I looked at it. Even with the Knicks there, Cleveland and Boston is what I thought it would be. But now it looks more like Indiana getting right at the right time.
Right. I'm surprised there's people on TV talking about the Pacers as championship contenders. I wouldn't go that far, even though I picked them as a team to make a lot of noise in the playoffs and to not be slept on. I didn't see them as a championship contender, and I still don't. But they're looking good, and they'll be waiting on the winner of Boston and New York. And the way that series is going, if Boston ties it up, we're talking about at least 6 games.
Yeah.
And if the Knicks steal another one, then 7 games, the Pacers are going to be well rested.
Well rested, because it looks like they're going to handle Cleveland. Cleveland, I don't believe, will come back, especially without Donovan Mitchell. We already know what's going on there. And how about Denver? What do we get here? We have Denver. They're playing OKC. OKC is the number 1 seed. And is this where you get your experience? MJ, as a player, we knew what he was, but as a team, he had to go through Detroit, and that's where he got his experience, and then he went on to get his 6 championships. You got to start somewhere. I hear it all the time, how you need experience. You don't have experience. Well, it has to start somewhere. And I think this is where it's starting for Oklahoma City, and they're going against the old dog, which is Denver. And Jokic still playing the way Jokic plays, but Denver does have that team that can turn it on, turn it off, and they're still a young team, I guess, learning on the job of postseason play.
Well, Jokic is getting decent numbers, but he's not being the player that he was. I mean, watching him play the last couple of games, I'm thinking this is a guy we were talking about top 10 all time, possibly if he kept it up. I hate to say this, but he's looking out of shape. He looks tired.
The Lucas school.
He needs a JJ Redick pep talk, get in championship shape. It's just weird because that never happened to Jokic before. So I don't know if going 7 with the Clippers and Zubac giving them a hard time, and now OKC has 3 big guys they can run at him. It seems like he could be possibly wearing down. They're playing every other night, not much rest between games. He has a high amount of turnovers, and not just high amount, but like extremely high for him. He doesn't normally turn the ball over 5 times a game.
Yeah, but the team relies so much on him. Everything goes through him. Do they have any really? They have some quality players. Aaron Gordon is the surprise there. Not surprised, but this is the play you would expect, at least going into the season, to really have a lot to say. You think he would just pick his moments. He's been more consistent this year playing with Jokic. Jamal Murray, he's the one you would expect with the consistency that can be the Robin to his Batman. But Jokic is always going to go through him, and he goes so slow. You don't think he has to necessarily be in top shape to do what he does. But now I guess it is with these extra games that are outside of the regular season. You have your regular 82 games, and now you have your playoff games. He's been there before, but, a little bit older. I mean, a year older, but and everything's still all the pressure on him.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that OKC was able to execute better down the stretch than the Nuggets in Game 4. You mentioned Jamal Murray. Him and Jokic in a pick and roll, I can't think of a better tandem in the league in pick and roll situations. Murray's deadly with his jumper. Jokic is Jokic.
Yeah.
So for OKC to execute and get buckets easier than the Nuggets, that was surprising to me.
As far as the pick and roll, this is what we were expecting in Milwaukee between Dame and Giannis, the pick and roll, and it never materialized. Now we got other stories coming out of Milwaukee that doesn't have anything to do with those two playing together in the near future. But just going by all of this playoff talk right now and the way these teams are playing, Golden State, Steph's still injured. You mentioned that, but Steph has a hamstring injury, and you talked about it last week when you talked about how he runs around.
Even if he comes back,
he's not going to be the same.
6. Exactly.
No way, not from a hamstring. A hamstring's
all it takes is for him to make one pivot, one cut, and bam, it's re-aggravated or maybe even tears.
Man, I had slight hamstring issues before, just running around doing the football thing, and a hamstring. And it gets to a point, depending on how you heard it, it gets to a point to where psychologically you're worried about that next step. And Steph doesn't take choppy steps. He's a taller guy. He takes his stride. He takes his strides. And he has to worry about that. And you need your legs to do what he does, hitting the 3-pointers. That hamstring is going to be at work.
If you're going to be shooting from 30 feet and beyond,
you need those legs and that hamstring.
Yeah.
You need everything.
And I tell you what, though, that game was there for the taking the other night. Butler had a good game. Kuminga, who's been in the doghouse, and Big Perk saying you can't play Kuminga. His head's not on. He doesn't have it right now. He dropped 20-some. They got a big contribution from Kuminga, and Draymond put up a big 2 and fouled.
He gets away with that nonsense because of the championships he won in the past. He can throw 2 points up there, not do much.
When you go on record on your podcast and guarantee you're winning the championship, you got to play better than 2 points and fouling
he said we as a team. So the team wins. I can still be a BS and maybe even injured. If we win the championship, we still win. Of course, we already know that.
And in game 2, he gets fouled and he flails his arms and makes contact to the guy's face. He's like, what I do? He fouled me. Come on, Draymond. He's the only dude that flails with his arms out, hits a dude in his face, kicks his leg up. His dude's in the nuts constantly. He hasn't done that in a while, but come on, man. He acts like he's a rookie and people don't know his act.
He's been doing the same
He's
thing.
too smart to be doing idiot shit like that, man.
But that's who he's doing, what he's done, and he's gotten championships on a team doing the same thing. But yeah, 2 points, man. Come on, yeah. Who do you think you are, James Harden? When something's on the line, you gotta.
If he's gonna get 2 points, he better at least get 15 rebounds, have 5 block shots,
and that's what he needs. Exactly.
Tremendous defense. If not, he's just a bum out there.
Okay, so let's move on to Ant Edwards. What's going on there? I mean, yeah, we're still talking about the Golden State series, but we're also talking about the Timberwolves being that young team. Of course, Ant saying what Ant says, and he's trying to live up to something. And we're trying to get he's trying to get something done here and put his signature there. Julius Randle, a solid damn player, even when he was with the Knicks. I know I heard stories when he was with the Knicks. Yes, he was the number one guy at the moment and doing his thing, but they said, Mike Greenberg in particular talked about if the Knicks brought in a star player or 2 star players, Randle becomes the number 3 instead of the number 1. That's how, in terms of star value, that's what he is. Well, he goes somewhere else. He's in Minnesota. He is that second fiddle, but he can step up when he needs to. And he did. So it doesn't have to just be Ant, but Ant's signature has to be on this.
Yeah. Randall's been playing well. Even in the first series against the Lakers, he's been playing well. You know, he's been scoring in the 20s, you know, getting maybe 6 to 8 assists, mixing in some rebounds. Randall's been playing really well. I think if you're a Wolves fan, you have to be happy with his play. Maybe he shoots too many threes once in a while. That's what I was about
to say, those damn threes, man. He gets on my nerves, but he makes some of them. He makes a pretty decent amount based on how he shoots them. He shoots them hard, but he gets them. He gets a lot more than you would expect.
I think you just have to be 35%, or to be considered a good shooter, 3-point shooter anyway. But what can we say about the Wolves? Steph went down in game 1. Yeah. The Warriors were able to keep the lead and win game 1, but the Wolves have taken care of business since. Had they slipped up, I think, like I said, the game was on the table for the taking the other day. I think the Dubs actually had a lead with like 4 minutes to go, but they just weren't able to hang on and pull it out. I think the cream came to the top at the end of that game. Minnesota's definitely the more talented team. And the game probably shouldn't even been that close. And that's why I think if you were a Warriors fan or actually a Warriors player, you have to be disappointed because that was your chance to steal one and still have home advantage and maybe go up 3-1. Now you're trying to avoid going down 3-1, hoping you can steal one, hoping that Steph comes back so that you can win possibly game 6 and win 7 in Minnesota. That's not a plan you want to.
That's tough. You don't want to be in that
That's not a plan you want to bet on. That's just a hope and a prayer right there.
And that's where they are right now. And, keep going because it begins and ends with Steph because of playoff time. In the playoffs, he doesn't necessarily score a whole lot of points, at least in the championship game. He doesn't go off and shows us that he's the Steph of old or the Steph that we know him to be. But right now, we talked about the other day how when he did play, he did get injured. He was only in there for 12 minutes, 13 minutes, but already had 12 points. So he was looking for a big time game. He was ready heading towards a huge game, and now he's out. And that's going to have a lot to do with where Golden State goes. I'm thinking
I'll tell you what, though. If they are able to steal one and extend the series and Steph comes back healthy, I don't know how healthy he's going to be, but if he comes back and they actually beat the T-Wolves, it could be a blessing in disguise. Because now Kuminga, he dropped 20-something the other day. He was a zero factor coming into this series. And if Kuminga has his confidence back going to the next series, they can be really dangerous because Kuminga's athletic. He can knock down threes. And if he's got that belief back, he's a problem.
Yeah, that's what it takes sometimes. You got to have that nice game. If you've been in a huge slump, everybody's pointing fingers at you. This is the playoffs. Everyone's watching. And then you finally you can't get your groove back. And it does carry over in basketball, probably more than any other sport. Your groove can carry over from one game to the next. You can be not so good in one game, good in the next game, and because your confidence pretty much great for at least one night only when you need to be. And I don't know about him being great, but I don't think he has to be great. He just has to do a lot better than he's been doing, like he just did.
Well, he has to make the defense play honestly, right? You know, if he's going to go for 25, you have to pay him attention. So now, without Steph, that's less attention you give to Buddy Hield. That's less attention you give to Butler. That's another guy you have to worry about.
Yeah.
But if he was going 2 for 13, and let him shoot that, But now you got to factor him in.
Yeah, playoff basketball. I'm glad it started like this and is continuing like this, and it's still intriguing as hell right now based on what happened throughout the regular season, the inconsistencies, or just the flat play. I don't know if it's because everybody decides they want to be a three-pointer these days, a three-point shooter these days, or is it because the NBA is just, I'm not going to say diluted, because these guys are hugely talented. I don't think they're using their complete talent throughout the damn season. They are more about flash and jash and hitting the damn three-pointer. But yeah, the playoffs has given us at least a whole new season of watchable basketball and anticipating watching the games, etc. Whether it's your favorite team or not, if you're an NBA fan, you just want to watch these games. But the NBA being what it is today, Monday, the NBA lottery is coming up. Everyone vying for that number one pick. We know the new format from a few years ago is still in play. The top 3 teams have the same amount of odds, so it takes away that tanking element that we've known from the past. And so Cooper Flag seems to be the odds-on favorite to go number 1 overall. Everyone else after that, who really gives a damn? Cooper Flag he's the winner this year. He's going to be the guy this year. But that's going on. But then you look at the NBA as a whole and what's been going on. You got the playoffs going on, of course, and it's showing us a lot more than we've seen during the regular season. But what about these other storylines? Giannis may not be with the Milwaukee Bucks. He may have other options out there. He may entertain those options, and he says he's open-minded. And when you say you're open-minded to a city like Milwaukee and you've done what you've done with Milwaukee, I'm thinking that the writing is on the wall. It's just a matter of what's the best deal for Milwaukee to get that rebuild done faster than expected, because they can get a shitload of picks for Giannis.
Right. I heard him talking about it on First Take this morning. There's really only a few destinations would be interested in, and not even all those teams can offer what Milwaukee wants.
Yeah.
The Spurs have 2 lottery picks tonight. If they get number 1, do they want Cooper Flag or do they want to make a package for Giannis? That's a decision they want.
Yeah, that's true too. Cooper Flag or Giannis, bro, it's a no-brainer, man. To have Wemby and Giannis together, bro, that's the fast track to probably getting to a championship. It reminds us, of course, it's going to be David Robinson and freaking Tim Duncan.
But how long does that window last, considering Giannis' age?
Yeah, because of his age. But he's not very old, and has he even shown decline? He hasn't even shown the decline yet.
He's 30, but you never know. He's a big guy. Is he going to be able to play till he's 38?
It'll be worth it if he could play to 35. If he left now and could give them 5 years, he and Wemby together, and then other players are going to come there in free agency on their own if they know there's a chance to make something happen. But there are other teams out there.
They're also going to have to pay Giannis, which is going to hamstring them roster-wise.
Yeah, that's true.
They can ask Phoenix about that with KD.
And look what Phoenix got out of it. In fact, I looked at some of the odds today, and Phoenix is one of those teams on the list for Giannis. They're down at the bottom in terms of the odds of them getting him. They're at the bottom, but they're still there, and it's kind of surprised me a bit. Like, why would he even go there? It doesn't even matter. The Nets surprisingly
what would they trade? Like, what would they trade? Like, whatever they trade, is it going to be worth having them? They're going to trade Booker.
These are Vegas.
And he ain't going to Milwaukee. I'll tell you that.
Oh, no, no way. See, the deal is this: the Nets were another team there. In fact, they were high in terms of their odds. I can't remember exactly what the odds were of them getting them. These are Vegas odds. The Nets have, I think, 5 unprotected picks that they could probably throw out there. it's not like the NFL when you look at draft picks a whole lot differently than they do in the NBA. But 5 unprotected picks, bro, that's over the next several years. That's a lot of rebuilding for a team that
something to consider is if you get picks from the team you're trading Giannis to, and that team improves, those picks don't have the value they had before you sent Giannis over there.
Yeah, that's the truth, because then you drop when Giannis gets, if the team wins, then the pick is lower.
Yeah, instead of possibly lottery picks, now you're picking what, 18, 19?
18, 19, and you have to really show basketball instead of just having these blue chippers or these star players fall in your lap. Yeah, but 5 unprotected picks. Imagine in the NFL if you had just 5 first rounders, man. That's the Herschel Walker trade plus more on steroids, and Russell Wilson. Throw him in there with his deal. But Giannis is. I mean, which team would make the most sense? I wasn't even thinking about San Antonio until I saw them on the list. I was like, damn, you know what? That may make some damn sense.
Yeah, San Antonio. I don't know if the Lakers could pull it off, but but I do believe they have the draft capital, and they haven't been wanting to trade Austin
Reeves.
Yeah, Austin Reeves. But if you're going to get Giannis, see ya.
Bro, you know what? How ironic was it, or is it, like about a week or so ago, the Houston Rockets was talking about, well, no one's off the table. No one's safe. They just mentioned that about a week ago, and I wondered why they're saying this right now. Well, this looks like that's why they were saying it.
Right.
They're ready to get rid of any of these young cats that they have right now that helped them get to this point. They had the 4th best record in the NBA this past season. With these young guys, you're already on the cusp of it. So if you get rid of some of these guys to help you get to that point,
I think Houston, that makes a lot of sense.
And it does. It makes too much damn sense.
Financially for Giannis too, going to Texas, that makes a lot of sense because of their taxes.
Yep.
So it could just be a matter of the right package.
Yeah, and these young dudes, they got enough of these young guys to ship over there and help get the rebuild started over there, and then bring in Giannis there. You pretty much don't miss a beat. You don't miss the beat if he continues to play the way he's been playing. I'm hoping that, of course, you're not thinking about the injury element, just like no one thought about Dame's injury element before he came over. And it just happened because, well, he's old and he may miss all of next season. And they said the reason why Giannis is likely to leave is because of that. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have a real pathway towards a championship or even being top contenders at all, based on what happened with Dame, who may not play next season at all. And Giannis does have 2 years remaining.
I feel bad for Dame. Like, he didn't even want to leave Portland. And I think he wanted to go to Milwaukee even less. I believe he wanted to go
supposed to be Houston. Miami.
Go to the Heat. Yeah, he wanted to go to the Heat, and he ends up in Milwaukee. So, he's probably going there half-hearted. The team doesn't do very well, and then he tears his Achilles.
Ugh.
So I feel bad for Dame.
And he's one of the good dudes.
There's probably a lot of Trailblazers fans like, good, that's what you get for leaving. And of course, that's not the right sentiment to have. But fans are short for fanaticals. So
yeah, but I do remember when he was talking years ago, I would never want to leave. I would never leave Portland, and I hate when players say things like that, especially star players, because it's rare that a star player ends where he started. I mean, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, it's rare that a star player ends where he started. We have guys we know that ended where they started, but they're just, in this day and age, especially with these salaries being what they are, they don't end where they start. And KD, he's bouncing around the NBA now looking for another championship, trying to latch on with the right team. And James Harden, another one, I don't know about being a great player, but he's a damn good player now. But he's bounced around the NBA.
Just not in May.
Just not in May when it matters, right? This dude will kill you between.
And I don't think he's ever played in June, so we don't. Well, yes, he did.
No, we don't know about that either.
His ass off against the Cavs.
What a mess we have here. But yep, that's going to be something intriguing.
But I'll tell you what, Bulls fans are a little more excited than you'd expect, considering I believe they have a 1.7 chance % of getting the number 1 pick. But they're like, That's the same percentage we had when we got the number 1 pick for Derrick Rose. So they're trying to draw a correlation. We had the same lack of chance to get him, but we got it, and now we got it again. So there's a lot of hope to getting the number 1 pick.
But I guess now with those 3 teams being equal at the top, I think that kind of just throws a bit of a monkey wrench. I remember when this lottery first started.
Isn't he from Chicago?
Who?
Cooper Flag.
He's from Maine.
Oh, is he? Somebody told me he's from Chicago.
He's from Maine. That's another surprise. Who's coming from freaking Maine in basketball like that?
Why you tell me he's from Chicago?
This guy's from Maine.
I was going to say, well, that will add to the conspiracy theories out there about the NBA being rigged.
Well, we knew what happened with Patrick Ewing when the Knicks ended up getting him when the lottery first started. Patrick Ewing going to the Knicks. But yeah, Cooper Flag, he's one of those generational talents. I think he's just going to come into the NBA, not blowing it up. I wonder if he's going to even be able to do what Carmelo and LeBron did when they came out of high school. They came straight out. LeBron came straight out of high school. Melo got his championship, came out after his freshman year. And now Cooper, after his freshman year, no championship, but we see where the talent is. He's played with the Olympic team. He's played with pros, and they've given him his props. They talked about how good he was. You don't hear that too often, but now you do. And he's just been killing it. He's been living up to his part, even with the injuries. Tough guy, all that. Everything you want from him, that's what you got. And speaking of your Bulls and speaking of the NBA, how about Michael Jordan, man, coming on as a commentator for NBC next season?
Oh, I heard something about special contributor. I was like, what does that
special
mean?
Commentator, special contributor. Bro, if MJ is on, period, bro, the dude's never spoken to anyone outside of his last dance. So if this dude's going to come on talking basketball, you're talking about ratings, they're going to get ratings. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a Tom Brady thing. MJ, because Tom Brady he was trying not to hurt people's feelings. He was trying to say everything the right way. People know how MJ is. Of course, he's going to do things that are made for television, but MJ is going to tell you what he thinks too. I don't think he's going to soften up. I don't think he's going to really insult people and make it sound tacky, but I think he's going to say what needs to be said that, coming from him is much more authoritative than either some trained professional television guy or even another former NBA player, even if it's a star player.
I have to reserve judgment because I don't know what his role is going to be. So until I see it, I can't really comment on it. I don't know what to expect.
Well, they talked about him being on. He's going to be on air. He's going to contribute. They said, but he's going to do commentary because he put a video out.
But is he going to be Peter Vesey or Ahmad Rashad, or is he going to
imagine MJ in that role? But I just can't. I see him only sitting down.
Like Magic, Magic did the finals. Yeah, sitting with Doris Burke or whoever.
Doris Burke.
Whoever's doing the games.
Yeah, I actually like her. Am I like the only person who likes her, man, that thinks that she's pretty damn good at what she does? I don't know. But MJ be on the sidelines or anywhere he's at, man, that's a huge plus for the NBA because, first of all, he's been away for so long. At least Tom Brady just segued into the post-football life and commentary, and people kind of knew it was coming, but it came. MJ's been away for a long time. And not only that, NBC has been away for so long, over 20 years they've been away. Now they have the rights to the NBA.
Yeah, I saw they're going to use AI to use someone's voice that they used to use back in the day.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Just let it go, man. Just let it go. The man passed. Let him rest in peace.
Exactly, right? Yeah, AI. Come on, man. Pay his estate and let him do it. But yeah, man. It's
but
cool.
I don't see how, at least for me, I don't see how Jordan's going to help the game. Because if the games are trash, then who's talking about it's not going to improve the experience.
They may take a chance and put him on some of the better games to where that the players aren't going to be resting, so he can make more of an impact. Put him on the better games where and
you can plan that, but
some people may whisper to these guys, "Yo, bro, you got to play."
If it's the T-Wolves versus OKC and Ant or somebody tweaked their ankle the game before, or you know what, Ant's not playing today.
Well, I'm just thinking, at least in the beginning, they're going to look at and all these young guys, they've been hearing about LBJ, MJ. even that argument, I think that crew at least is going to be anticipating what's going on. They'll be looking forward to what's going to go on. What is he going to say? And they're going to make their own narratives. They'll make their own stories up in their freaking mind of things they wish they could have said. I think that's just from that anticipatory element of just what MJ is going to be like for these people that never watched him play in person. These people in person or on television when he was active, all they get to do is watch him on YouTube. Now they're going to get live commentary from him. Even if it's just a little something out there, they're going to look for something to say. You know how the young people who don't like him because they're too big an LBJ fan.
It might be interesting, like if he says, "What do you see that mistake he made right there? I would have never done that. What he should have done is,"
bro, he could say that. All these stories you hear about Mike,
but you know what? Whoever he's talking to is gonna say, "Mike, maybe they can't do that. Maybe you're the only one, or maybe one of few who can do that."
Say it, damn it, still say it. And it's probably true that he's probably one of the only guys who could have done it. But I'm actually looking forward to it because I didn't know anything about it until today. And I was like, "What? MJ's gonna be doing commentary?" He never says anything. This guy.
I didn't see commentary. I saw special contributor.
Special contributor
so
on the show.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I would just assume if it's television, it's commentary. You're not going to just say MJ's coming on just not to hear MJ. He's going to be saying something. He's not going to be behind the scenes just giving you advice on what's going on. No, he's much valuable to them. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm glad to be with them." He also says, this is the same station, NBC, that carried his 6 championships. So there's a lot of love there.
Yeah, I get it. I need to see how it.
And it starts in October because remember, NBC now has their new deal. I think it's a 10-year deal that they got with the WNBA and the NBA. So yeah, everybody's getting money. And so this WNBA, shut up now. You get a little bit of money, a lot more than you were getting. But yeah, a lot of NBA talk, which is a good thing. Tonight, the Knicks take on the Celtics again at the Garden. A 5.5-point favorite, which went down from 6.5 points. Man, going into this, I know I saw those videos of these Boston fans saying that it was going to be a 4-game sweep, and not too many Knicks fans, if you were being legitimate with yourself, could disagree with that possibility. It's just that we got those 2-0, it went 2-0. It was hard pressed to get this 3-1. I mean, the 3-0. It's 2-1 now. Let's try to do 3-1. I think the best opportunity, like you said, before going back to Boston, and even if it does come back to New York, Boston just plays better on the freaking road. I was wondering how the hell could they win in that freaking building at Madison Square Garden? As tough as it looked and as tough as it was, man, it was excitement going through the roof, and Boston just shut them the hell up. That was it. Gave them nothing to freaking cheer about. Dudes was cheering when they were down 12-4. They were just cheering because 12-6 because the Knicks got a shot. They were just trying to save any moment that looked positive, and then it just fell off the freaking rails. So I don't know. Jalen Brunson has to step it up tonight. Jalen Brunson, it's not even a money thing. Show that you're a freaking Knick, man. We're trying to get to the championship here. The only one in the building that's worth a damn is Walt Clyde Frazier, man. He's the last link to the championship for real.
Yeah, who else was on that team?
Starling. What was it, Bill Bradley?
I think Phil Jackson was on that team.
Phil Jackson was on there.
Yeah, Phil Jackson. The other guard, for some reason, I can't think of him.
Willis Reed.
Hall of Famer, huh?
Willis Reed.
Was Willis Reed?
The Boucher?
No. The guard. There was another guard. It was Walt. There was another guard. Who was his backcourt mate? Pretty sure it was a Hall of Famer.
With Clyde.
With Clyde, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Damn, I can't remember. Whatever. But yeah, I think Brunson's got to come out smoking, man. He's got to show it. He's the leader of that team, in my opinion. And Cat, he needs to take his big butt down to the block once in a while. He can't just be shooting jumpers.
Oh, of course. Do you see the way he walks
Earl
down
Monroe?
the field, the way he goes down the court? He'll sprint.
Was it Earl Monroe?
Or the Pearl?
Was it Earl Monroe?
No, I don't think it was Pearl. Was it? For the championship?
I'm asking you. You're the Knicks fan.
Oh, no. I don't think not for the championship years.
I don't know, whatever. But yeah, Cat, he's got to go down and mix it up sometimes, man. You can't just be shooting jumpers when you're 6'10". I mean, even Jokic does most of his work in the paint, even though he can hit threes.
Oh shoot, it was Elder Pearl.
It was Earl Monroe. I figured, yeah.
What the fuck is going on here?
Who's the Knicks fan on this show?
Not me anymore. The hell, man. I can't blame COVID on that one. For real. God, try to stay hydrated.
Did the NFL drop all the schedules, or did they just announce the Eagles and Cowboys?
They announced the Eagles and Cowboys so far. So,
okay.
They haven't done the rest of the schedules. I thought they'd do it by now, but yeah. And I mean, what's going on? People talking about Shadua again. Why? Just leave it alone. I don't even want to hear anything about what Shadua is doing until training camp, not mini camp and all these other OTAs. Wait till training camp starts and see what he does.
I think it's because he's showing up early, he's staying late, he's working with wide receivers, throwing a lot of passes, he's going around town trying to learn about the city, trying to ingratiate himself to the fans. You know, he's doing things that you would want from your quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
you know, he's got 4 other guys to compete with.
With Dylan Gabriel's not doing the same, staying late,
I don't know,
or is this the only one they're focusing on because it happens to be Shadua? You know, and I'm not even going to listen to if I'm not watching it myself or knowing for sure.
But do you expect him to lose the QB1 spot to Dylan Gabriel?
QB1 spot. He's not even going to be in the QB1 spot if Joe Flacco's there.
But I'm saying
Watson's out of the mix.
But if he's competing and doesn't get it, is it going to be Dylan Gabriel?
You know what? I can't say. I don't think so because talent-wise, I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel.
Exactly. That's my point. So who cares about Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, but I mean, I care about him in terms of him being picked earlier, even though Shadua was a fringe first rounder, possible second rounder, Dylan still was a third rounder. You know what I mean? So even if Shadua did go in the second round, which I thought was probably best for him, would have been his best spot anyway, because I didn't think he was a first rounder. I did so in the beginning, but that's kind of settled on the second round. Dylan being a third rounder, I guess, you know, the writings on the wall saying that he probably wasn't that far off from him. All of these intangibles you look at, or not even intangibles, just the physical attributes, being the taller guy, having a stronger arm, you know, the live arm. They said that Dylan doesn't have those things. We know. I've watched him play. But in terms of overall savvy, do we know that? I watched enough of him at Oregon and watched him at Oklahoma to see how he threw not Oklahoma, saw him at UCF, saw the way he threw the ball. You know, and you know, he's resourceful. If you could only come up with resourceful, hell, Doug Flutie was resourceful. So he had a pretty solid NFL career. But Shadua talent-wise, we know that he's not a fifth-round
talent.
Who?
Solid?
Who?
I'd say decent. I don't know about solid.
He's solid because look.
To me, solid is somebody you can count on, just nothing special.
Exactly. Well,
he came through Chicago. The Bears could not count on him. I don't think.
Dylan Gabriel?
Flutie.
Flutie. Flutie was solid in Buffalo.
I don't agree.
Buffalo was better. That's where he made his name in Buffalo.
I don't think he had a solid career, man.
The Chicago Bears blew a second-round draft pick on this dude when I don't think they should have. And when he got his chance to learn, I guess he went to Canada, did his thing up there. Then he comes back. He played a lot better in Buffalo. He was a pretty damn good player in Buffalo, you know, and let alone the 5'10" and this and that. He was just a hell of a resourceful player.
They didn't start going to Super Bowls until he was no longer their quarterback.
Who?
Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo? Yeah, well, when Jim Kelly was there, but that wasn't – yeah, that was let me see. Well, Jim Kelly was Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly's a Hall of Famer. Doug Flutie isn't. And Doug Flutie did have his Flutie Flakes that he came out with. Oh, man had his own cereal. Up in that Buffalo area, New York area. But yeah, I've always liked watching Doug Flutie play, with the exception of playing against Miami and that Hail Mary that they threw. Other than that, I can rock with Doug Flutie, man. He was just a tough little asshole. And because they thought he was an asshole too. But Dylan Gabriel's not necessarily Doug Flutie, but I think he has that savvy. By the way, you're up in that area, Purdue area. You watched Drew Brees play as a college player with Joe Taylor's offense. You didn't watch him?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, but I watched him play up there. I thought he was, because of the offense, I thought he was looking damn good because the offense allowed him to do it. Kyle Orton was in that same offense, kind of looked the same, didn't do anything in the NFL. Drew Brees turned out to be a pretty damn good player. Second rounder that could have easily been a first rounder. And then they got him out of there when they got David Rivers in San Diego. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll just wait until things start mattering. And I won't be rooting against. I don't know why people are rooting against Shedeur now that he's been picked. I don't think you root against him. Just see what the hell happens. If he's still using his bad attitude thing, he's trying to repackage himself, reinvent himself. Let him do it. Don't hold everything against him. All of this crap he did that made him become a fifth rounder, leave that where it is. If he's really as good as he.
Yeah, you went mute on me. Yeah, I can't hear anything. Okay, I hear you now.
Some freaking ghosts just came out of here. The hell's going on? I don't know, man.
I don't care either way. I'm not a Browns fan. I'm not a Shedeur fan. I'm not a Shedeur
and neither am I. But he's interesting now because he's happy.
He seems to be doing things. We're both boxing guys, and we don't think much of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And I told you all the times
I used to love the dude,
videos of himself working out and show up, and he still doesn't make weight. Like, he's the most workout video posted mofo in history, but doesn't get into proper shape.
He doesn't. Man, look.
Right, but I'm saying Shedeur seems to be doing the right thing.
Doing the right things now.
I'm gonna appreciate that.
I rocked with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because of his father, because I rock with his father forever. That's the reason why. I was just hoping that this dude did something, man, to make his father freaking proud. And his father was upset by the way he fought, man. And then he called his father out a couple of years ago, man. That's why I was like, I don't mess with.
Senior would be trying to give him advice in the corner, like, "Yeah, you need to do this, you need to do that." He'd be like, all right. And they're like,
ignoring him.
Stop, leave me alone, man.
The day I was completely done with him was that time he had that press conference, I guess about 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe. And he started talking about his father's past. And Senior sat there and just listened. He's an alcoholic. He was a drug addict, this and that. And I'm like, bro, I'm done. I'm done. I can't deal with him anymore, man. So, and I'm not going to root for him to get knocked the hell out, but I wouldn't be upset if he did. Now he's fighting Jake Paul next. So.
Is he?
Yeah. That's what the plan is. He's supposed to fight Jake Paul next. So I don't know. Well, he'll be 190 pounds, 200 pounds for this fight. Hell, he don't have to worry about the weight anymore.
He won't have to work out, yeah.
I know, right? He just comes straight off the street with his clothes on and be all right.
But you think about it. If he loses to Jake Paul, and I know he hasn't been in the ring in a few years, he has no business losing to Jake Paul.
No, he doesn't.
I'm not saying he was an elite fighter, but he was fighting for championships. He fought some
good championships, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he did win a championship.
He lost to Martinez. He lost to Canelo.
He could have won that fight at the end, man. He had it. He just didn't do enough at the end.
I'm saying, he at least got almost to the mountaintop. Couldn't quite get it done. There's no way he should lose to Jake Paul. It's not like he's 45, 50 years old.
But you know what? People acting like Jake Paul hasn't gotten any better from when he started. Jake Paul's getting
gotten better, but he's still fighting football players and MMA guys and old 60-some-year-old Tyson. And come on, man.
Bro. Yeah, but shoot. I'm thinking, and he takes the game seriously.
The one true boxer he fought, he lost to.
Damn, and that's not, and Tommy Fury just had another fight the other day and won. He just won again. So, yeah, he had a little break and came back and won. But yeah, and Tommy Fury wasn't even looked at as a serious fighter. He was more of a model and bodybuilder looking kind of guy, and he made Jake look amateurish. I think that really hurt his ego and made him go in and still try to stick to what he was doing and trying to get better. And I can't say the Mike Tyson fight, look how much better he looked against Mike Tyson, because you just can't use that as a gauge. Julio going against Junior, I'm not going to root for either guy. You know what I mean? Because even though Chavez Jr. did what he did to his father, man, I'm not going to root for him to lose. But I'm not going to root for Jake Paul to lose either, man, because at least he's doing the honest way in boxing, trying to fight guys. He's fighting guys. I know people are talking about with 5, 6 fights. You need to fight Canelo. Come on, who fights those kind of guys in their 5th fight, 6th fight, man?
Yeah, but he needs to fight boxers.
He does need to fight more boxers. You know, hell, you know what? Fight Le'Veon Bell. He's boxing. Frank Gore, he's boxing. Those dudes been knocking guys out. So hey,
Charles Jones was boxing too, but that didn't make him a boxer.
Nah, Mark Gastineau was freaking boxing. You know, there was a handful of boxers football players who boxed, and some of them did well. Hell, Gerald Washington, former USC football player, had a solid career until.
Did you see Gastineau? I think confronted Brett Favre for letting your boy.
Something's wrong with Gastineau, man.
Letting him set the sack record.
He's still pissed off, bro. You pissed off about something like that? You're gonna step to someone over something like that, man?
He wanted the record forever. What else can he hang his head on?
God, I could only imagine, because now I see when we was kids watching Mark Gastineau, man, that was fun. You know, when my father and I would watch football on a Sunday, this is one of the few times he was really happy about freaking watching something like somebody celebrate. That was like the first time someone really celebrated a sack. They didn't just get the sack and high five their team. He made it his own show. Running, rolling all over the floor, jumping up and down acting crazy. So that was a cool deal, man, when we was kids. Now looking back on it and hearing Marty Lyons say that how he didn't really like him, and other players saying how they didn't really like him, only Abdullah Jackson was the one who liked him. I was like, God.
Who was better, him, Gastineau, or Joe Klecko?
Oh, Klecko's my man, period.
Klecko, who's better?
Klecko.
Oh, okay.
Klecko got all pro at 2 different positions, a tackle and nose guard. That dude, man, and I'm glad he got to the Hall of Fame. And Gastineau would never see the light of day in the Hall of Fame, even with the roids. Okay. Even with the roids, man. You know, he used to mess with Brigitte Nielsen, Sylvester Stallone's old wife, you know, Drago's wife in Rocky IV. They used to date one another, and all that fell apart. But at the same time, she also dated freaking Flavor Flav. What's going on with this? Come on, and the thing went down the hill. There were Mark Gastineau. I met Marty Lyons here in Jacksonville when the Jets came to play the Jaguars. It happened to be that day that Vinny Testaverde got injured and Chad Pennington got his first start. And I'm in the press box, and Marty in like halftime, and Marty comes with his hot dog and mustard. Yo, bro, I used to watch you when I was a kid, man. Now we both up here in the press box. He was like, yeah, man, those were some good times in New York Sack Exchange. I should have said, but you hate Mark too, don't you? Everyone else does too. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but something's wrong with that guy. To point out something like that, getting pissed off. Go to Michael Strahan and get pissed off. Don't go to some old quarterback. Go to Michael Strahan and see what you're going to do about it.
He probably deserves it, though, considering what he did to that with those charity funds. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Yeah, but he paid the money back, though. He's paid a lot of that money back. I mean, over about $1 million or more. He's paid back. I actually did a show on that. About a year or two ago.
You gotta be a foul type of dude to steal from a charity.
A charity, man.
I don't care if he gave it back. Yeah, he only gave it back because he got caught.
He got caught. How you not get caught with that kind of money? But yeah, I can post that show if you want to see it.
And I don't even hate Brett Favre. He was my fantasy quarterback.
I rock with Brett Favre. I rock with him.
Hey, man, he used to give me all kind of points. And it hurt me as a Bears fan. He come into Chicago and throw 3 touchdowns. And I was like, oh, man, he's killing my squad. But I won fantasy this week.
Fantasy football kind of reconciles a lot of things, man. I mean, Brett Favre, I was always with him, even when Deion Sanders was claiming that Brett Favre was a racist. You know, it's always that way with Deion. Back then, he was talking about when he was in Atlanta, saying that Brett Favre was a racist and all this other nonsense. Like, really, man? Come on. He's really a racist. Cut it out, Deion. Just do something different. Yeah, man. But
I never been a redneck.
Yeah, well, you know, Southern Miss. You did go to Southern Miss, but hey, you know, I don't know. He and Warren Sapp had a pretty nice relationship in public, at least on the field. Competitive guys. I never heard anyone else say that nonsense, especially when he was down. Dudes like to pull on you when you're down, and no one ever did with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we ran the gambit. Oh, by the way, there's a knucklehead out there who's suing the NFL for about $100 million because Shador dropped to the 5th round. He's claiming mental anguish or something like that. This dude is...
Was it his agent?
No, some fan, a Colorado fan. a Colorado fan. He said it caused him anxiety and all this other crap. Whew, man, we're talking about a litigious society. We're talking just idiots.
He probably held a draft party thinking, man, we're going to have 2 top 5 picks. Let's get together, guys. Travis Hunter gets picked, and then Thursday night ends and Shador's not drafted. And then Saturday goes by and Shador's still not drafted.
But come on, man. I mean, you're a Colorado fan. Is that enough to go forward with?
No, I'm trying to speculate as to what
how his mindset was working.
Yeah,
idiocy is behind it and in front of it. This guy, $100 million, man, mental anguish. How can you go public with that nonsense, man? You're gonna be the butt of every damn joke once other people find out about this. First is Derek White, then is racist. The hell we talking about here?
It's racist. Who's racist?
He said, say what? I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
We talked about this last week or maybe a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. People were saying that it was racist for Shador Sanders to drop.
Oh, cut it out. Everything's racist.
Out of the 32 guys drafted in the first round, like 20-some of them were black.
Yep.
So how is it racist that Shador dropped? But those 20-some guys, I don't know.
And the number one pick the past 3 years have been black quarterbacks. Bryce Young, last year, Caleb Williams, this year, Cam Ward. And even the second pick overall was a black play when Caleb came out, and CJ Stroud. Come on.
No, was
Bryce Young.
And then Jaden Daniels went number 2 last year.
Jaden Daniels, exactly. So we're talking about both number 2s, both number 1s. It's a nonsense. If everything is racist, nothing is racist. But I like to hear it now because they're getting what's coming to them. All these race baiters and all those types of people, they're getting it coming to them in spades now, and they deserve every bit of it.
No, that's what we're talking about. It wasn't racist. It was personal.
I don't know. How personal was it if he did the things that they said he had done? If he's messing up in these interviews like they said he did, because they don't just give you an interview. I think they probably take you to the chalkboard and want to know what you're thinking.
That made it personal. It was directly for him and nobody else.
Not because
the color of his skin, not because of anything related to race or culture.
But I'm just thinking that if all of these things are true about the interviews, about the way he had acted with these people, the way he's turned teams down for either interviews or even visiting their facilities, I think every team has a right there. You know what? And some teams did not, from what I heard today, some teams did not even have him on their board. So now you're not talking about 32 teams that are looking at him. I don't know how many teams didn't have him on the board, but now it's limited and it's under 32. And if you give those same people or the same attitude and then not go to the Senior Bowl when it's not even about the game, it's more about the practice week of the Senior Bowl, you decide to go to the Shrine game because it's in your hometown of Dallas, and it hardly gets any looks. I've been to the Shrine game when I had a friend of mine play in the Shrine game when it was here in Tampa at the Tropicana Field, and it isn't one of those games. You can look at the stands and see that it wasn't one of those games. The Senior Bowl still has a lot of people in there. I forgot which field they played, Allegiant Field. But anyway, yeah, so teams are entitled to say, you know what, I don't want to be dealing with the cancer. And not especially at the position, which ultimately can turn out to be the most expensive position. If he did do something well, you're going to pay him all this money. Then he goes back to what he was, and then it's going to embarrass the organization, be a cancer in the locker room, disrupting the team. They don't want that crap. They're playing chess. They're not playing checkers. They're looking way ahead of the people. But you know what? If he's that damn good, he's going to be able to come back and do his thing. That's it. He should be, if he's that damn good, like Brady, because I saw Brady play college ball. I didn't think he was anything special, but apparently he showed up and became that special player. The people we think are going to be special. Look at running back wise. I remember when Terrell Davis was at in Georgia. He didn't look special there. Hell, he was at Long Beach State before that. Who the hell looked special there? Even though George Allen was coaching. But there's been a lot of players that Timmy Chang. Did he even get a chance in the NFL? Coming out of Hawaii, putting up ridiculous numbers?
I don't know, but to answer this question, I don't think disbarring the attorney is a good resolution, but maybe questioning him as to why he's taking on this case.
Yeah. Well, if that's Scott, he knows all about being disbarred, even though he wasn't the lawyer just yet. Getting disbarred, he's all for it. But anyway, he's all for that. Let me see. Bill Bradley. Is that MSG?
Can he play?
Princeton's only. Princeton's one and only.
Can he play?
You ain't right. I couldn't be more right. What are you talking about? Oh, man. Right? He's going to need it tonight. Well, they're going to need Jalen Brunson to play tonight the way he needs to play in order to pull this off. Man, you try to separate from being a Knicks fan and being a realist. Well, being a realist Knicks fan is like an oxymoron these days. So I don't know what to even say about what's going to happen tonight. I'm going to take my damn Knicks. I'm going to go with the crowd and say, hey, that money came in for a reason. Now it's 5.5. It might even go down to 5 before the ball's tipped off. And we'll just find out and have a story to tell on Thursday.
So I guess we're making predictions.
Yeah.
I said what the Knicks need to do. I just don't feel confident that they're going to do it. I think it's going back to Boston 2-2. And unfortunately for the Warriors, unless Draymond gets his head out of his ass and contributes more than 2 points, and Kuminga does what he did the other night, and maybe Jimmy, if they're close, maybe Jimmy can pull it out. But I could also see Timberwolves winning by double digits.
They're at home, so if anything is going to help is that. But Steph is still the biggest reason why they should be even close in this game. I don't know. Does Minnesota win on the road? Have they really won on the road against a formidable team this year, playoff-wise? I mean, hell, they're moved to the next round, so they did some damn winning on the road. But does Anthony Edwards take over?
They won 2. No, they won 1 in LA, and then they won the other night.
Now, I wonder about LA. Was LA even one of those teams that you can use as a gauge? I don't freaking know. They were supposed to have such a good.
No, but you asked the question, can they win on the road? They won game 1, and then they won game 5.
It just happened to be that the Lakers weren't a formidable team. But, hey, you're in the next round. Hell, the Warriors aren't supposed to be formidable right now. But hey, all they got to do is win. They got all that damn experience, and Jimmy Butler has experience of his own. He was in the damn final himself. He carried that team by himself. Just fell short. Well, let me see. What's that? Oh, I saw that one already. He's going on a tangent, man.
I don't know, Scott.
Let's get up out of here, man.
We've gone over an hour. We're starting to talk about the same games we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I know, right? But Scott wasn't involved. But anyway, the Sports Bag Bros podcast is going to come to an end. We'll catch you on Thursday after the games tonight. Let's see if these Knicks can pull it off, and let's see what the Warriors at home could do without Steph Curry missing his second game with the hamstring, trying to stretch the tournament out a little bit longer, stretch the series out longer.
It's crazy. They said he went through a strenuous workout, but
strenuous.
He wasn't doing any cutting, wasn't sprinting. I'm like, how the fuck was it strenuous?
Maybe doing curls or something? That's it? Come on, man.
I don't know, man.
Anyway, until Thursday, deuces.